Before we start learning the stitches, let's learn about the needles and the thread. So when we use wool, we use bigger size needles. That is, the hook will be bigger, but the number may be just 3 or 4. So this is number 14, and this is the smallest needle. This is usually used for threads. So the thickness of the thread is usually referred to as ply. So this will be like a single ply, this is 2 ply, this is 4 ply, 8 ply. So the thickness of the wool varies, and that is referred to as ply. The thickness will be referred to as ply. The thinner it is, the lesser in number. The thicker it is, the greater in number. So accordingly we use needles also. The bigger needles are used for bigger sized ply. The smaller needles are used for smaller sized ply. So to start the project, actually it's not a project, it's just that we are going to learn the stitches today. So to start with learning of stitches, I am going to use 3.75 mm because the size of the wool that I am using is much thicker than the usual wool. So we start with a knot, roll it twice on your finger and take out the second loop out and bring it back. Make another loop on your finger and take out the second loop out, and it becomes a knot. And the knot should be easily movable and easily removable. Okay, now for the chain stitch. This is the basic of crochet. So for the chain stitch, all you have to do is take the thread and bring it through the loop. Take the thread, bring it through the loop. Take the thread, bring it through the loop. And the holding of the thread can be any way you like according to your comfort level. So you can hold it like this or like this. But this is the mechanism that should be there. So take the thread, bring it through the loop. Take the thread, bring it through the loop. Take the thread, bring it through the loop. So we continue to do this until we get this stitch right. So this is the chain, and it has to be neat like this so that it is easy for us to crochet the second row. Next is the slip stitch. The slip stitch is usually used for designs or to join into a circle. So for designs, when you want to miss a stitch or when you want to add another stitch but without disturbing the next chain, then you use slip stitch. So that we will come to later. Now I will just show you what a slip stitch is. A slip stitch, it joins. So I'm going to join it into a circle. So in the first chain, I simply put the needle into the first chain and draw the thread out through the first loop and the last loop. So this is a slip stitch. The name of this stitch is double crochet. So to do a double crochet, first make the base line, that is with foundation chains. And now to work on the next row, leave one chain, that is the last chain, you leave it. And when we leave the last chain, it is actually to compensate the height of the next stitch. So that is why we leave an ending chain. A double crochet will be a short chain, so we are going to leave one chain. As we learn the other stitches, we will see how many chains to leave. Now for the double crochet, insert the needle through 2 loops. Down there will be 1 loop, on top there will be 2 loops. Bring the needle, take the thread and bring it through both loops. So this will form one double crochet. So the same method should be followed throughout the line. So this will be a double crochet. Leave the needle through the next chain. Bring the thread out. Take the thread and bring it through both the loops. The last stitch. So this is a double crochet. The stitch will be the height of the stitch is smaller than the other stitches. If you want to practice the double crochet, just continue on this, turn the project, add one chain. This one chain will compensate the height of the double crochets, and continue the double crochet throughout this row. So now again you can turn the project, make a chain and continue practicing your double crochet. Now we are going to learn half treble. The name of the stitch is half treble. What we are going to do now is we are going to leave the first 2 chains. To compensate the height of the stitch, we are going to leave 2 chains. Okay, take the thread over the needle, that is over the hook, leave it through the 3rd chain, bring the thread out through the loop. So you will have 3 loops on the needle. Now take the thread and bring the thread through all the 3 loops. So this is your half treble. For double crochet you did not take the thread at all. For half treble you are going to take the thread in the hook and then leave it through the next chain. Bring the thread out and there will be 3 loops on your needle. Now you take the thread and bring the thread through all the 3 loops. So this will make it your half treble. So this is how your half treble stitch will look. So to continue practicing, add 2 chains, turn the project and add 2 chains, then take the thread and go to the next chain, bring the thread out 3 loops and bring the thread through all the 3 loops. So continue this practice till you get the stitch of a half treble. So here we had already left 2 chains, so you have to make a stitch on the second chain, that is here, so that the sides are even. So again when you turn, you make 2 chains and then you can do another row. Now to learn the treble. This is a basic stitch and it is used in almost all the projects. It's a very common stitch. So this is what we usually use in all the projects. The rest are more for designing them, smaller or bigger. So for the treble, I am going to leave the first 3 chains and start in the 4th chain. So 1, 2, 3. So this is the chain I'm going to use first. Take the thread, take it through the chain, take the needle through the chain, bring the thread out. Now there will be 3 loops on the needle. You take the thread and bring it through the first 2 loops. Again there are 2 loops, so take the thread and bring it through the next 2 loops. So this will be your treble. So continue this throughout the line. Take the thread, put the needle through the next chain, take the thread out through that loop, take the thread again, bring it through 2 loops. There will be 2 loops remaining on the needle. Take the thread again and bring it through the next 2 loops. So that will be your treble. Now if you want to practice the treble, turn the project, add 3 chains. To compensate the height of a treble, you add 3 chains and then start the next chain. Now the last 3 chains what we left to compensate the height. So on the 3rd chain you have to make a treble and then turn. So you can keep practicing this. Turn, make 3 chains and continue in the 2nd stitch, and you can keep continuing. And when you come to the end, the last stitch should be on the 3rd chain of the previous row. So you can continue to practice this. Now for the double treble, we are going to leave 4 chains. 1, 2, 3, 4, and we are going to start working on the 5th chain. So for double treble, when you are taking the thread round the hook, take it twice around the hook, go into the 5th chain, take the thread out. So now there are 4 loops on the needle. Take the thread, bring it through 2. Again take the thread, bring it through 2 loops. And then again take the thread and bring it through 2 loops. So this will make it your double treble. So now you can practice this throughout. Take the thread twice, leave it through the chain, take the thread out. You have 4 loops on the needle. Take the thread, leave it through 2. Take the thread, leave it through the next 2. Take the thread and leave it through the next 2. And you can continue this. Now to practice the double treble, you can turn your project and make 4 chains. 1, 2, 3 and 4. 4 chains, and then you can start your double treble again and start the practice. And go on. Now, if you have finished your project, I'm just going to show you how to fasten off. That is how to end the project over here. So this is the loop, this is the end loop. So what you're going to do is just cut the thread and leave some thread out. Take this through this and knot it. That's it. And with the remaining thread, do not cut the thread over here. Do not cut the wool over here. What you have to do is, you have to take it through all of this in a very neat way.